Sister Annie, go ahead.
Okay. Sapna, don't worry about it. I don't think there's anything that you're going to miss out on when you're speaking because I'm going to be reading the questions, inshallah.
Good point.
Okay. So we'll start. It's 6:01. Assalamu alaikum and hello to everyone who's joining us today. Thank you for attending tonight's event where we will be learning more about the candidates who are here from District 204. I would now like to welcome the candidates, audience at home that are watching, and our guests. Thank you. The agenda for tonight is as follows. We will begin the program with recitation and translation of the Holy Quran. Then Rahman Khan will speak briefly about ICN School District Engagement Committee. This will be followed by a special guest from Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition. The bulk of the program will be dedicated to Board of Education candidates who will first introduce themselves and then answer a randomized question from a lottery basket. We will end with closing remarks by ICN President Gasha Fakhruddin, and we are expected to end the program by 7:15, God willing, inshallah. All right, I would now like to invite Ismail Saidi and Mufida Rahman to read and translate a verse from the Holy Quran.
Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والصاحب بالجنب وابن السبيل وما ملكت أيمانكم إن الله لا يحب من كان مختالا فخورا. Thank you so much. God bless.
Go ahead, Mufida.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mufida Rahman and I'm a 7th grader at Fisher Middle School and I'm going to be translating Ayat 36 of Surah An-Nisa. Worship Allah and do not associate with Him anything, and be good to parents and to kinsmen, and orphans and the needy, and the close neighbor and the distant neighbor, the companion at your side, and the wayfarer, and to those owned by you. Surely Allah does not like those who are arrogant and proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would now like to welcome ICN board member and chair of ICN School District Engagement Committee, Rahman Khan, to say a few words about the hosting committee today.
Thank you, Sister Annie. I was in mute, sorry. So first of all, I would like to really appreciate the candidates who are all with us. We completely understand that it's a huge effort. It's not easy to run for the school board. You have a lot of work to do and a lot of things to manage. Thank you so much from our entire ICN community for taking up a decision to run for the school board and to serve our District 204 community. Thank you so much. So at this point, I would like to put a disclaimer for the audience who are watching in YouTube. So this forum is for District 204. And if you are not a parent of District 204, or if you're not a parent, if you're not a student of District 204, please log out and log into your respective links, YouTube links, which is like 203 and District 308. So I was just talking with the candidates about how fancy our ICN IT team is. Like we are amazing that we are able to do a program, kind of a similar forum or similar program in 3 different channels, running at the same time. So without the support of our IT team, our social media team, our marketing team, and our ICN School District Engagement Committee, this program would have not been really achievable. Thank you so much, guys. I mean it. And so with that, very recently, all of you would have been hearing about like school district engagement committee many times, like an email from me and, event combo link, many things. So I just like to quickly, talk about like what this committee is for. So we started this committee 2 years back, like having a vision in mind, like that our parents and students and community members engage with local school districts to represent our community and advocate for our rights to culturally responsive education, and Muslim students are treated with equity and inclusion in the school system. And our mission was to advance ICN community's visions of representation in local school district by increasing awareness and participation in the school district's diversity outreach program. So the neighboring school districts like Naperville, Aurora, and Oswego public schools are really seeking to develop a partnership with us in an effort to ensure equity and inclusion within their environments. So it's our responsibility as a community, it's our responsibility to take part in this and then, like to reciprocate with that. So I would like to remind to my community members who are all watching, so if you are not in the table, we are in the menu. So please get involved in your school district, in your school activities, and make sure that your voice is heard. So our scope is like, for now, our scope is like District 203, 204, and 308. But in the future, we are planning to expand. So this particular slide, I got it from the District 204, like website. If you have a concern, again, this is for my community members, just a reminder we want to give. Like if you have a concern, there are different ways to approach in the school district. For example, in the elementary level, you first approach your teacher and the student service coordinator and the principal, and then you go all the way down to the assistant superintendent elementary. So the same for the middle school and the high school also. So we would provide this chart to our community so that they know more about details about this one. And along with this, we do have in District 204, we are blessed to have Parent Diversity Advisory Council with amazing leadership team. So I say amazing because I'm also part of the leadership team there. So just a reminder, so keep this in mind. So there is a way to, raise your concern. So, and we will let the community know about that. And again, thank you so much for joining this event. Thank you so much for viewing it, and thank you candidates for joining us today. With this, I leave it to Sister Annie.
Thank you so much, Brother Rahman. We will now invite a special guest from Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition to briefly address the audience. Welcome, Rima.
Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace, everyone. I am Rima Kamran from the Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition, and I'm excited to be here today. If I could get permission to share my screen, I'd like to just share some important information with you.
Yes, Rima, you can click on the share button.
It is not working. The Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition is a coalition of community leaders, change makers, organizations, activists, and influencers. And our mission is simple. We convene, collaborate, and amplify civic efforts towards equity and representation for all in America. Our goal is civic justice, and all parts of civic justice are integrated. Once we vote, I'm going to start trying to share my screen now, guys.
Please.
Let's see.
Good. You should be able to do it now.
It will not let me. Okay. Let me try a different way.
It's not allowing you to share it?
No.
So you're a co-host now.
Okay, I'm trying again.
Okay.
Let's see. I encourage everyone to go to www.ilmuslimciviccoalition.org. I'm going to ask one of the hosts to try to pull the website up if they can. Our mission, as I mentioned, is to work towards civic justice, and all parts of civic justice are integrated. And we have to think about how they all connect. We can talk about advocating for our community, we can talk about voting, but we have to connect with our elected officials to tell them and cooperate and build bridges with them to ensure that we are all on the same page in regards to the policies we care about. After 30+ meetings with partners, including the ICN team, the coalition focused on 4 bills and 1 resolution. We have 4 bills currently in legislature, and many of them, actually all 4 of them have something to do with diversity, and we're working with community leaders to make sure that these get passed. Specifically, there is a bias-based bullying bill. There is one specifically about a modest uniform, as well as an opportunity to encourage community members to learn about the Muslim community and the history of Muslims in America, along with a resolution for Muhammad Ali Day. Muhammad Ali was known as the people's champion, so a bill that commemorates his day and his pride as an American Muslim is one that we want to make sure gets passed. Our ask to you, the community, is to check out our website and join Illinois Mobilize. These bills serve all our communities, and we are going to be phone banking with residents, emailing legislators, and we would love for you to join us to ensure that these get passed. In 2020, we are going to be focusing on making voting a habit for our community. This year, voting is not in November, but it is on April 6th. Check out our website to learn about making a plan and additional information about voting. Make sure that you are registered. If you are not sure, or if you need to get more information, please check out all the amazing resources that are available on the ICN page, as well as other opportunities to learn more about this. In the next 2 months, you will also receive a survey about Illinois Muslims. This is the first comprehensive snapshot about our community, our needs, and our impact. We would ask you to complete the survey and make sure that you are speaking with your family and friends who identify as Muslim to complete the survey. It's easy and it's important. Illinois has one of the largest and most diverse Muslim communities in the nation, and we hope you join us collectively as a community as we learn about the needs as well as our wants as a community. These are our 3 focus areas in 2021, our bills we want to turn into laws, voting in April, and being a part of the Illinois Muslims Report. Let's achieve civic justice together, and I look forward to hearing more from our candidates. Check out our website, illinoismuslims.org, to learn more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Rima. I'm sorry that there are some technical difficulties and you're not able to share, but please feel free to just share the document and the presentation with us. Like we would make sure that the presentation is going to the candidates and as well as our community. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rima, for all the impactful work that your committee does. Thank you so much. Okay, we will now move on to our Board of Education discussion session. This is the bulk of the session, and this is why we're here. So this session will have 2 rounds, as you can see on the screen. In round 1, the candidates will introduce themselves in alphabetical order. And in round 2, the candidates will go in reverse alphabetical order and answer random questions that I will pick from this basket. The candidates will have 3 minutes each for their reply. They will be shown color-coded cards to stay on track with time. I am not sure if the public can see those cards. However, if you can, for the candidates, green means that there's 1 minute remaining, yellow means that there's 30 seconds remaining, and red, you must stop talking so we can fairly allocate time to each of you. Although the candidates are asked only 1 question from the 5 questions that we have finalized today, at the end of the program, the questions will be shared with them so they can answer them through their website, Facebook page, or any platform that they choose. Also, please note that the candidates were not given any questions prior to tonight's event. So this is a surprise. All right, we will now begin. Well, right now we will begin with introductions. So questions come in the second round. For the first round, we will begin with Shannon Adcock. Will you please introduce yourself?
Thank you. Thank you, ICN, for hosting this forum. Thank you, too, for donating PPE to the Indian Prairie School District. and for offering your site as a voting location. My name is Shannon Adcock. My husband of 17 years and I are proud parents of 3 children and 2 Old English sheepdogs. We love sloths. If you're wondering what this is here, that's a sloth. We've adopted sloths as our family mascot. We appreciate the diversity of our vibrant community as it illustrates to our children that celebrating cultural freedom is a given in this country, not the exception. As a Board of Education candidate, I want to support our district efforts to be dynamic in its ability to provide quality academic and supplemental enrichment. I am the first woman in my family to graduate college after attending the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and as a result have immense appreciation for education. My career includes advertising sales for the Chicago Sun-Times, background screening software in Seattle, and pharmaceutical sales as a neuroscience representative in Arizona. I have also operated a photography graphic design business for the last 12 years. All of my life experiences have given me the business acumen, the communication skills, and the grit to tackle the learning curve, the goals, and the oath of a school board member. Upon relocating to Naperville, I immediately became involved in our elementary school PTA, and I'm grateful to have time to commit to numerous volunteer roles in our community, including fundraising and mission work. I sincerely feel called to serving the community as an advocate for students. Rather than sit by the sidelines of policymaking, I opted to run after seeing openings on the Board of Education. I intend to bring a parent perspective and a focus on transparency. During the board term, I will have children at each level of education, elementary, middle, and high school. Our children deserve dynamic leadership, especially after the pandemic year, so they may advance and achieve their greatest potential. I look forward to the prospect of serving in trust for the students and our community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Shannon. All right, our next speaker is Lori Don. I apologize, I'm going to say this again. Lori Donahue.
Thank you.
I said it correctly.
Thank you for hosting today. I am actually running for re-election. I was elected in 2017 and currently serve as the board secretary. I've lived in Naperville for 40 years and my children were extremely fortunate to be able to go to school here from kindergarten through high school graduation. 2,340 is the number of days that a child is in public education from kindergarten through 12th grade. It goes by very quickly. I want to make sure that each one of our children are given the opportunity to shine. While I've been on the board, we made social emotional learning and equity district goals while maintaining our academic excellence. I understand the need for a good education. My father did not believe in girls going to college, but fortunately my mother had a different idea. I have a bachelor's degree in computer engineering from the University of Michigan and an MBA from Benedictine. In my long career, I managed very large global teams, technical and business, including $1 billion purchasing program and a $250 million investment portfolio. In 2018, I retired specifically to spend more time on school district activities. It's a complex world, and also on my volunteer work. As a volunteer, I'm often found in the schools with my dogs, helping special needs students or helping with reading assistance. Everybody goes, what's reading assistance? Well, children who suffer with struggle with reading find it easier to read with a dog. So I'm also a long-term volunteer at Edward Hospital with my dog, my therapy dogs, and I run the Voter Girl program for the League of Women Voters, teaching children the importance of voting. I am on the IPEF board of directors, and that group brings many great programs to the district, including the robotics tournaments, the fine arts festivals, and our holiday concerts at the high schools. So for the past 4 years, myself and Susan Dummings have spent an enormous amount of time getting to know this district and all the issues that it faces. In the next election, we'll have at least 2 new board members who will be on a very sharp learning curve to understand and fulfill their role. I bring a proven track record through my board experience and through my career and through my volunteer activities of integrity and the ability to work with others to create success. If you read studies, one of the most important attributes of a successful school district is a cohesive school board, and that's what I bring to you. I'm number 4 on the ballot, number 4 for 204, and I hope I have your vote on April 6th.
Thank you. Okay.
Sister Annie, you want to share the document or you have the names already?
Oh, I have the names. I have the
Okay.
names.
Then good.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure. I guess YouTube has a little bit of a lag. Okay.
Yeah, YouTube has a little bit of lag, so don't look at the YouTube.
Yeah, so I was looking at that. My mistake. Okay, thank you so much, Lori. That was excellent. We shall now move on to Allison Fosdiak.
Hello, my name is Allison Fosdick. I've been a Naperville resident for more than 25 years, so I've spent most of my life here. My husband and I have 4 children. The oldest is a district graduate who's currently a junior at the University of Illinois. We have a Nequa sophomore, a Gregory 6th grader, and a Springbrook 4th grader as well. I earned my undergraduate degree in international studies from Miami University and my master's degree in English with a specialization in teaching speakers of other languages from Northern Illinois University. And I work part-time as an English professor right now at Aurora University. I feel really lucky to be able to have time to give to the schools and to the community. Most recently, I've served as a PTA president at Springbrook Elementary, an art awareness volunteer, a PADS volunteer at our church for the homeless community, and I'm the current vice president of the Orchestra Parents Association at Nequa Valley. I've thought about running for the school board for quite some time, especially with kids ranging in age from 9 to 20. And I was raised with the idea that if you are born with privilege, if you are lucky enough to have that God-given privilege, that you have a responsibility to give back to your community. So for me, running for school board is an opportunity to do just that. I would really like to be a helper in this year of crisis. And going forward, I want to help ensure that each child in our district has the opportunities and the tools and resources they need to achieve the excellence for which the district is known. If elected, I'd really like to focus first on equity and making sure that, like I said, every student has exactly what they need. That will mean some students get more because that's what they need, and I support that. Second, I'd really like to work on social emotional hands-on skills to teach our kids how to deal with stress and how to work with those struggles and challenges that we all face, but especially this year. And finally, I'd like to work on increasing our communication between the district and the families. I feel like the more we communicate, get to know one another, the more we can support each other and work together to build a better community. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Allison. Appreciate it. All right, next up is Saba Heather.
Saba Heather, thank you, honey. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hello, my name is Saba Heather, and I am very happy and honored to be here with all of you. Prophet Muhammad said, the best among you are those who bring greatest benefits to many others. And I think ICN and the whole team is doing exactly that, bringing greatest benefits to many in our community, and we are very thankful for that. I am a wife and a mother to 2 beautiful kids. They are kind and enthusiastic, and they are part of the district. They go to middle school and elementary school. I am an independent business owner and a proud Girl Scouts mama. I have a master's degree in wildlife science, and I've been working, I've worked to protect endangered species and our precious environment. And then I had kids, and then I had to make a choice. You know, do I take care of the animals in the forest, or do I take care of the animals at home? And I chose to take care of the animals at home. And then I started my business over a decade ago, training and teaching people to become health and wellness teachers and giving them the tools and skills to make sure that they are able to take care of their social, emotional, and mental well-being. And I've been doing that for over a decade, and I find myself very fortunate and blessed to be able to work with people from diverse backgrounds, with various groups of people, socially, culturally, and economically. I've been able to volunteer and fundraise for over a decade with our PTAs, schools, Girl Scouts, Variety, the children's charity of Illinois. I raise money for food insecure children in our school district, make sure they have what they need, especially food, educational, and financial support. And I am here with you all to share why I wanted to run. I wanted to run because my mother is my inspiration. She runs a school in India for underprivileged kids, and she, thanks Nabi, I see that she encourages everyone to work hard even in that age. I have helped her raise funds for that school, help kids go to medical colleges, engineering colleges, become videographers and photographers and technicians. And it just makes me be able to serve the community in a bigger capacity. When elected to the school board, I would like to guide all our students, work hard to make sure that all our students are able to learn, lead, and thrive. I am number 6 on the ballot. Vote for Sabah Heather on April 6th, number 6 on the ballot. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sabah. Next up, we have Robert O. Harris.
Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to speak today about a very important issue. For over 18 years, my wife and I have been residents of District 204. I come from a family of dedicated teachers and servant leaders committed to excellence and evidence-based results. For over 20 years, I've served in various education leadership roles, K through 12 as a reading mentor, community colleges at College of DuPage and also at Benedictine University. That experience includes teaching, faculty hiring, curriculum design, directing students, and teacher evaluations, course accreditations, and also professional certification development. Among others, I've also worked for IBM, HP, AT&T, and Coldwell Banker. Therefore, I have real-world classroom and business experiences. Today, I'm employed at Lewis University as a program director and assistant professor in the College of Business. My duties include membership and student services, including teaching classes, university co-chair of the Arthur J. Smith Foundation, and I'm also the Alpha Phi Alpha Education Committee Coordinator. Serving as an Indian Parish School Board 204 member is a direct connection to my experiences. Therefore, I've got 4 platform issues. Focus on students, persistence, graduation, and career options. Number 2, student services. Increase student success by helping all students grow socially, emotionally, and academically. Most of all, maintain safe and healthy environments. Number 3, manage district resources efficiently and effectively and keep open communication and collaboration with the community and also district parents and also the school board. Number 4, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hire effective teachers, school district leaders, and staff committed to evidence-based results, but most of all, excellence. My education is I have a PhD from Benedictine University, an MS degree from Roosevelt University, and a BA degree from The Ohio State University. Serving as an Indian Parish School Board 204 member is a direct connection to my K through 12 and university experiences. Make no doubt about it, I believe in inspiring all students to reach results and also reach their highest potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. We will now, next up is Sapna Jain.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sapna Jain, and I'm running for District 204 School Board. I believe in the African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. My village started with my parents, who happened to be educators. My father in higher education, my mother a preschool teacher. And if you could,
Sapna, I want to just stop you for a minute. It's echoing a lot. Just give me a minute. Can you try now?
sure, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay. Sorry about that. Should I start from the beginning again?
Yes, please. We want to hear you again.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sapna Jain, and I am running as a school board candidate for District 204. I believe in the African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. My village started with my parents, who happened to be educators. My father was an educator in higher education, and my mother a preschool teacher. And my village also included my neighbors, my friends, teachers, and countless others. I benefited from a strong village. They saw my potential and they supported me. And it is in that spirit that I am running for District 204 in hopes to serve my district in a larger capacity to help our children understand their potential and what they can do. I have a bachelor's in communication and political science from University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, a master's in communication from Illinois State University, and a JD, a law degree from DePaul University. As a parent, educator, and an advocate, I believe I have the skill set required to be an effective board member. I can bring a unique perspective to boardroom discussions and decisions. I chose to run for this role and this role only because I think my skill set and my passion for education is a good fit for what the roles and responsibilities demand for this job. If you look at my three roles in life, that of a parent, educator, and advocate, you will see that education is tied to every role that I take on. I am a proud parent of a third grader and a seventh grader, and my husband and I every day try to teach our kids to be respectful, critical thinkers, and contributors of society. For over 12 years, I've been in higher education. I taught at COD, at ISU, and currently I'm a professor in the communication department at North Central College, as well as the director of the speaking center there. Although my career started in the legal world, I found my calling to be in the classroom and have loved it ever since. Education is also tied in my last role as an advocate. I am the founder and artistic director of a nonprofit organization called AVEG, which uses dance as a medium to raise awareness on social issues. Since its inception, we've raised over $20,000 to help local charities. So when you look at me, you will see that education is tied to everything that I do. If elected, I will advocate first and foremost for equity in our education, which means that we are more inclusive in our teaching, that our teachers reflect the diversity of our district. That's really important. Secondly, I will advocate for developing social and emotional competencies so that our students are prepared for the postgraduate world. And lastly, I'll be advocating for initiatives that maintain academic excellence even during a pandemic so that our most vulnerable groups of students are not left behind. I hope you allow me to serve. Please vote for me, Sapna Jain, number 8 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Sapna. We will now go to Marina Kosak.
Good evening, and thank you for hosting tonight. I am Marina Kosak, and I am running for the IPSD 204 School Board because I want to make sure that our kids come first. District 204 has always been a leader. Districts near and far see our award-winning schools as ones they want to emulate. The new board seated this spring must ensure that we set the bar higher and offer the best programs that allow all of our students to achieve their full potential. The pandemic is at the forefront of everyone's mind, and getting our kids back into school safely should be a priority. However, our community must remember that this is a 4-year seat, and there are many other issues to consider. We have significantly higher than average class sizes in 204, and that must be remedied. We also need to continue to make our district attractive to highly effective teachers by offering opportunities for professional developments and competitive salaries. Our district must address and find ways to close the achievement gaps that currently exist. All of this needs to be done while being fiscally responsible. We must continue to make 204 an attractive place for families to want to move to, and our taxpayers are entrusting us to ensure schools remain exemplary. I will bring the experience of 25 years in public education to the table, and I will be able to provide expertise from an education lens. I know the right questions to ask our district leadership to challenge them to think creatively to solve problems. I understand assessment data, and as a board member, I will collaborate with my colleagues to help them better understand and interpret data that the administrator presents. I understand school budgets, having served as a building principal of one of the largest high schools in the state and successfully oversaw a $60 million construction project. I have a bachelor's degree from Purdue University in political science and Spanish, a master's degree in Latin American Studies from Purdue University, a master's in arts of teacher leading from Roosevelt's, and I have my administrative license through North Central College. I've been a resident of Naperville for almost 14 years, and my kids grew up here. Our oldest is a 2019 graduate, and our youngest is currently a student at Neuqua Valley. I am proud to call 204 my home, and I look forward to serving you all as a member of the Board of Education. Thank you so much, and I look forward to answering more questions this evening.
Thank you so much, Marina. Next up, Yanmei Meiling. Yanmei, we cannot hear you. No, we still can't hear you.
Is that better now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Good evening. I'm Yanmei Liang. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I was born in China and raised as an atheist until I met God in England 26 years ago. In year 2009, God saved my life with a miracle. When a semi-truck crashed and totaled my car, God protected me by not letting my car move 1 inch. I've been a nurse in China, England, and the United States. I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. I've lived in this area for over 15 years. Both my children graduated from Neuqua Valley High School a few years ago. My family always valued education as key to a good future. In the past 15 years, I've worked in the Will County Health Department. As a public health nurse, I have supported teen parents to graduate high school and also clients with mental health issues, drug issues, and domestic violence. I have prayed with moms in District 204 for many years. I understand what the students and parents are facing and their struggles. In the past 10 years, I have volunteered and served patients without insurance at a clinic in Bolingbrook. As a board director of Saddle Creek Homeowner Association, I have ensured a safe environment for hundreds of homes. In conclusion, I will focus on the holistic growth of all students, especially in emotional and mental development. I will advocate collaboration with families and community. I'm sure my passion, my medical background will help the board of District 204. I would like to be a friend and a resource person for the Muslim community. Thank you. Vote for me on April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yanmei. Next up, we have Rajesh Narayan. Go ahead, Mr. Rajesh.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rajesh Narayan, and I'm running for School Board 204. I've lived in Naperville since 2007, and I have a 12-year-old daughter who goes to Scullin, and she's been my inspiration to run for the board. I have a master's in economics, and I'm an entrepreneur. Currently, I run 3 different companies right here in Naperville. I'm running on a platform of issues, the 4 issues that I'm passionate about, and that you can check on my website, www.rajeshfor204.com. I'm a big proponent of diversity and unity in diversity. So I'll take these 2 precious minutes that I have been given to talk. I'll talk about my friends from diverse backgrounds who are endorsing me are in the audience right now. I'll start with Irfan Khan. We met in college in Delhi 30 years ago, and we have been best friends since. We applied to US universities together, we wrote the application essays together, and came to US together. Same day, same flight. Once in Delhi, I was homeless for a couple of months. I couldn't find a place to rent. So Irfan gave me shelter at his house. We also run a logistics company. Farooq Mustafa is my 50% partner in that business, and he's from the Pakistan side of Kashmir. I've been friends with Yasser Kiani for over 16 years. He comes from the prominent Kiani family in Islamabad. You probably know what I mean if you're from Pakistan. And I would also like to add that Dr. Mahboob, Dr. Farhan, and myself are going to run a COVID vaccination camp starting Monday at Mall of India. Mr. Rahman, you mentioned, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, that when you said that Muslim students are treated with equity and inclusion, I couldn't agree more. I would add to it that we should all strive for that, irrespective of our color, race, and religion. All students should be treated with equity and inclusion. Doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, or follower of Confucius. I'll work for the equity and inclusion of all students. And I hope I'll have all your support. Vote for me on April 6th. I'm 10th on the ballot.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Next up, we have Kader Zakaria.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Thanks to ICN team and Hani. Thank you, Sister Hani, for kind of hosting and moderating this as well. Really appreciate you guys doing this. So my name is Kader Zakaria. I'm actually running for the school board. I've lived in Naperville about 24 years now. A proud father of 3 kids. One actually graduated from the district. She's in pre-med. Second one currently in high school, a freshman in high school in Ubanzi. And my son actually is attending an alternative program outside the district because he's a cancer survivor and he has some special needs that needs to be taken into. Like every parent, I've been a constant advocate of my children's education, and that's the chief reason that I'm actually running. It's always interesting, right? I actually failed 8th grade, and some of the teachers actually told me that I can't get any further, and then here I am sitting with a bachelor's in computer science, a master's in computer application, and a MBA from Northwestern Kellogg University, right? And I could not even think that I would actually go through that spectrum. And the reason why that happened was there was a couple of teachers and my parents actually worked together to kind of understand what is that I need and what is my learning style and how do they cater to that learning style, right? So that's an important piece, and that's part of the reason that I'm actually also running in for the school district. One other motivation is my professional background is I'm a chief technology officer at a company called Ruffler Noble Levitz. And it's a higher education firm. We actually help a lot of presidents and chancellors of all these universities and colleges to be able to recruit some of the really good kids into their colleges. In that position, I've been able to observe how higher education in US is actually, it's actually developing, and it's specifically the growth of micro learning is important for us to understand, and how do you actually shape your students to kind of get into that kind of mode that's been broken into at this point. We need to prepare every student to achieve success after graduation, however we define it, which means that we have to incorporate these new, I would say, higher education pathways into our K through 12 curricula. In order to do so, we must address some of the systematic inequalities that's actually present in our district. I'm running for the school board because it has a unique ability in the right hands to address these issues in a very transparent and an effective manner. If you need to learn more, please go to my website, www.cartersakaria.com. And as I think there's a theme that's been set up, is to rhyme. So I'm ballot 9 for the Shine on April 6th, 2021.
Thank you so much. We will now go to Susan Taylor Deming. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the Islamic Center of Naperville for this opportunity. Thank you so much for being so interested in, concerned about our educational needs and those who will help to lead our district in the future. So I'm Susan Taylor Deming. I am completing my first term on the board. And as a member of our school board, I am so proud to represent our students, staff, and district constituents this past 4 years. My husband, Albert, and I have raised 2 phenomenal daughters. They both graduated from Waubonsie Valley High School. Professionally, I have a plethora of background arenas. I've served corporately, I've served in the not-for-profit sector, and I also was a high school, substitute teacher in our district and in Aurora, and therefore bring a wonderful understanding of the responsibilities and needs of our students. I have combined all those areas and now serve as the Director of Leadership Giving, running the grants and foundation major gifts at Elgin Community College, where I really have a chance to help students complete their educational dreams. My undergraduate degree is from Rice University, and I have a master's in business from Columbia University in New York. I am so proud of the record that I have on the board in 2 areas especially that I wanted to share. The first, our board, under the leadership of Lori, we had an opportunity to share with the state and request for all 18-year-olds to receive voter registration information. And that was something that was passed, and we were extremely proud of that. Secondly, I had an opportunity to write a belief statement that is the only equity belief statement that sits on the state, Illinois Association State Board of Education. It's number 13. We're extremely proud of our accomplishments in those areas. 4 years ago, I shared my commitment to education excellence every day for all 204 students. As I seek re-election this April, my promise is to continue to serve students, staff, all of our constituents in this district. I will do so through an equitable, compassionate, and inclusive lens. I'm proud of my accomplishments with the board. I look forward to continuing to make a strong difference for all of our students, helping them to achieve to their fullest potential and thrive regardless of what their academic desires are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. I'm echoing. Can everyone hear that echo or just me? Yeah, okay.
I think now we are good.
Okay,
Yeah, Sister Annie, I just want to make a comment.
go ahead.
This is amazing, right? The candidates made our life easy. Like everyone was on time. This is amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
Thank you. Should I move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we will now move on to the Q&A session, and this will be done in reverse alphabetical order. We have 11 candidates, so I know it takes time, but we're trying to give you the most amount of time that we can. So each of you will have 3 minutes to answer one question. Make the most of it. We will now begin with Susan. And Susan, I am going to randomly pick a question for you. I wish you could do it, but COVID doesn't allow that. Let's see.
We look forward to next year and hopefully having a chance to be together and do just that.
Guess what? Your question is about COVID. How will you work towards progress and healing post-pandemic?
Wow, I love that question. One of the things that has been critical as we have looked as a board to address COVID and address our students being in school is ensuring that we have followed the CDC and the DuPage County Health Guidelines to ensure that we keep our staff, our students, and ultimately our families as safe as possible. We want to ensure and have our students back in school on a full-time basis as soon as we can. As you know, we now have brought our students back in, those that desire to be face-to-face for 2 days a week. And we are moving, as we announced last Monday, to 4 days a week. So we want to ensure that, again, we provide a safe environment while our students who want to be in school and face-to-face are in a safe manner, but also for our staff. It's critical. We want to ensure that our staff and students are safe while they're there, and that as they leave, that they also have an opportunity to go back home and ensure that they're not bringing anything to those family members at home. As critical as it is to provide a strong, robust academic arena to those students who want to be face-to-face, it is ultimately as critical and important to make sure that those students who are at home also receive and have an opportunity to thrive academically. That is one of the reasons why we were very concerned about how we can ensure we provided AP honors courses to our students that were in high school that were remote, but as well who were coming in face-to-face. So there are a number of arenas that have to take into account as we pull together and we move through the pandemic. I've had an opportunity, along with Lori, to visit each school at each level to understand what it takes and what it will take for us to be able to provide students back into our schools face-to-face for a longer period of time and move both A and B students back in school together. It is an immense architectural coordination. So we are extremely appreciative of our administration at each level of our district within our particular schools, especially our custodial staff, and especially our teachers who have made such a strong commitment to provide both those that are face-to-face and those that are remote a wonderful, stupendous educational opportunity as we move forward through the end of COVID. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right, next is Kader Zakaria, and I will be picking your question as well. And I'm actually putting the questions back in there, so you might have a duplicate again. Okay. So your question is, what measures will you take to ensure that the curriculum that is selected does not feed into implicit bias against any marginalized group?
That's actually a great question, right? Because part of what I was talking about my son as well, right? Where we need different levels of learning, and you heard from Allison as well. There's a difference between equity and equality, right? Equality is kind of giving the same curriculum to everybody and say, here's what you need to go, use that as a baseline and perform. But equity is all about kind of coming back with an adaptive curriculum that actually feeds the needs of the students. And specifically, in this COVID, that what has taught us is this whole, idea of the curriculum is actually amplified the challenges some of the marginalized students are having, right? And part of the platform I've been pushing through is making sure that we find the right curriculum and make sure that we are able to put the right emphasis on where we spend the money on the curriculum as well, right? So that is going to be a significant way for us to look at it. And as part of being on the board is to make sure that we are able to get a lot of feedback, right? And specifically getting feedback from different groups of parents. There's people with special needs, there's people on general ed programs, right? There's people who actually need specific focus on certain areas of math and sciences. So the idea is to make sure that we are able to bring a lot of that thoughts together and be able to build an equitable curriculum that helps all our students, right? Because the challenge I've actually seen, right, is, and I'll tell you from a personal experience, right? One of my daughter is great at orator, but when you actually let her to go take an exam, a standardized exam, she would never get through, right? That doesn't mean that she's a bad student. What it means is like that area of focus is something that we need to help her and coach her. So that's why that equitable approach of the curriculum is going to be very important. And that's my core platform that I'm actually running in. The second part of it that I'll say, so that's the implicit bias part, right? The second part of it I want to focus on is there's a significant changing need that's happening in the higher education industry. And actually it is taking into a lot of these, what I would call equitable curriculum, or you can call it micro learning. That traditional programs is actually being broken down in. So I want to make sure there's curriculum that not only fits on the equity, but also on the future in mind. How are we going to position our kids for success in whatever area of passion that they want to be in, is what I would actually do as a board member.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I was asked by my team to actually put away the questions and then put the 5 back in. So we'll repeat. We have 5 questions, and I'll take the ones that I read out, and then I'll put them all back in for the last 7 candidates. Okay, so our next candidate here is Rajesh Narayan. I think he has logged out. He had a prior commitment. We will go to Yanmei Meiling. Yanmei.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So much better this time. Okay. All right, it's a pretty long question. So there you go. Students from different cultural and religious backgrounds have reported that there is a lack of diversity of teachers. Do you feel hiring diverse staff is important? If so, how would you work to ensure that teachers from diverse backgrounds are hired? How will you make sure that teachers from diverse background are hired?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think the top priority of hiring teacher is not only with the diversity. That's a good concern. Yeah, that's a good requirement. But I think it's the heart, the teacher, how the character of a teacher, it makes big difference. So I would think as long as the school hire teachers that have their heart to care about the students, and they also have the vision of promote equity, and also care about how the students growth academically, mentally, socially, physically. That's very important. How a teacher by herself is what a teacher herself is most important character I would think about. And also with the diversity, of course, I think it's important to hire teachers from different backgrounds, different culture. Then that would help the teacher community to understand better about their students. For example, myself, I myself are from China, but we always live in a community that's like in Naperville. And because my husband got his PhD from Cambridge University and also had a postdoctoral research background from MIT. And also we always with a good like a financial background. But actually with my job, when I serve the people from my in the community, like in Will County, when I serve the people, the clients who are with mental health issues and with drug issues, and also with domestic violence, and a lot of clients who are like from single mom, single parent family.
Thank you,
Actually, I serve them.
I apologize, but we have reached our 3 minutes and we're going to be very strict with that. Thank you so much. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry if once the red card shows, I have to end it just so that we can be very fair with the time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up, I've already picked out the question, should not have done that, but I did it. But the next person here is Marina Kosak. All right, Marina, I've got your question right here. Let's see.
I'm ready.
All right. How would you work on current school policies to ensure students from different race, ethnic, religious backgrounds will feel safe, included, and celebrated as students?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. One of the things that you'll find about me and on my website, cosacforkids.org, is my candidacy focuses on 3 main points. And one of them is equal educational opportunities for all students, no matter what their background is, what their culture, religion, race, gender identity, whatever it may be. We have to make sure that we are offering equal educational opportunities for all of our students. We have to make sure that our staff is equipped with the right tools and resources, that they are able to reflect on their own biases when they're in front of their students. Culturally relevant teaching is, the resources and tools that they learn that we can give to our teachers will help them understand their students better, help them understand better how they learn. And in turn, we can give a voice to all of the students within a classroom. Student voice is something that I am a big proponent of. Every student needs to feel safe in their school, in their classroom. I'm not talking safe just in the physical sense, but safe in that they can express themselves and who they are without any fear of retaliation. I think that is important for our staff to be able to give that to our students and know how to lead a discussion amongst our students so that they all feel safe in giving their opinion and in respecting the opinions of others. So I probably have a few more seconds, but know that equal educational opportunities, when it also comes to our achievement gaps, is of the utmost importance as well. We are really lagging in the gap between our IEP and our non-IEP students, for example. We are way above the state average with that educational achievement gap. And we really need to focus on making sure that all of our students have equal opportunities in education and in social emotional arena as well, to ensure that they all succeed to their fullest potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. All right, next question is for Sapna. Sapna Jain, I've got your question here. I know, I really wish you guys could pick it out yourself. Okay, well, what are some of the measures that you will take to advance equity among the special needs population? both academically and socially?
So anybody who knows me knows that equity is near and dear to my heart. It is a course I teach at North Central College. I teach intercultural communication, but among that, equity is intertwined with all the courses that I teach. It's also the subject matter of what I research, and it also tends to be the subject matter of my choreography when I'm choreographing dance. So it's probably the impetus behind my choice in law and teaching is largely driven by inequities that I have seen. So, you know, if I'm given the honor to serve on the board, I first and foremost will be looking at everything with an equity lens. And that includes for our students with special needs. The law requires that those with special needs get the same rigor and access to extracurricular activities that those without special needs have. And it's really important that we adhere to the regulations that the state puts forth. I think District 204 has done an outstanding job with that. Hence, we do get a lot of families that move into the district to have access to the resources that District 204 provides for our special needs children. But I know that we can do better, right? There's always room for improvement in ensuring that our students with special needs have exactly what they need to thrive, particularly during the pandemic, which has been increasingly challenging for our special needs students. And I know the district has prioritized bringing in special needs children in to make sure that they get the in-person interaction that they need, although they probably need more. And with vaccination and things of that sort happening, I'm hoping that those days will happen. There'll be more days for these students to come in. Really, what I'm really looking forward to is the new bill that just got passed at the state level by the Illinois Board of Education with regard to just being more inclusive in our teaching. And I think that also embodies our special needs students and recognizing neurodiversity and understanding our various abilities and celebrating that and encouraging more civil discourse in the classroom, which will then go beyond the classroom. So there's a lot of things coming down the pipe that will help our students with special needs, that will help our students that come from a diverse background. And I assure you that if I'm on the board, that is something that I'm going to lead with.
Thank you, Sapna. All right, we will now move to the next candidate, Mr. Robert Harris. Mr. Harris, I cannot see, your camera seems to be off.
Looks like maybe he's having some internet connection issues. So probably let's move on with another candidate. So
How about we
can have him.
Okay, so we'll go back to Mr. Harris, and we're gonna go with you, Saba. Saba, hey there. I am picking, oh, let me be more transparent and hold it up. All right, I'm picking it out. All right, Saba. Your question is, and this is a repeat because I've put those questions back in. Students from different cultural and religious backgrounds have reported that there is a lack of diversity of teachers. Do you feel hiring diverse staff is important? If so, how would you work to ensure that teachers from diverse backgrounds are hired?
Can you hear me, honey? Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Actually, Saba, if you could move closer to the microphone.
Sure.
It's a little low, that's all.
Can you hear me now? And I can
Yes,
speak
better.
louder too. Okay.
Much better.
Just want to make sure. Now only start my timer. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. And I won't hold you against repeating the question. Thank you. This is an excellent question. And how can we make sure, see, we fear what we do not know. So oftentimes people, especially children, experience these challenges in the school district because oftentimes not everybody knows the different cultural, historical, backgrounds that we are coming from. And that foreign nature of our history and our rich culture and background makes people a little bit apprehensive. Now, if we want to change that, we want to make sure that we create a culture of acceptance, of growth, of inclusivity and safety in our district. How do we do that? Because at the root level, that's all what we want for our families, all of us. That's all we want. We all share the same goals. So how can we make sure that their students are not suffering because of the different backgrounds, the diverse backgrounds that they're coming from? Number one, we can create a culture, an atmosphere in our district where all heritages, all cultures, and all backgrounds are talked about, are celebrated, and are encouraged. Second thing that we can do is make sure that our teachers are trained to talk and teach in a way that allows for our students to feel welcome and safe. Now, this is a difficult task, and this is something that as a nation we are lacking. We are 42nd when it comes to globally. As a nation, we are 42nd when it comes to having teachers that are equitable for different groups of students. We know that half of our population right now nationally recognize themselves as students of color. However, there is only one teacher among 5 that is a teacher of color. We know statistically that students perform better in standardized testing when their teachers are people of color. We have to make sure that is reflective in our staff as well, in our teachers as well. Can we train our teachers to be more tolerant? Can we train our teachers to use a bias-free language? Can we train our district and our staff to make sure that we have these social engagement campaigns? Can we include more diverse books that celebrate our culture and history? There is so much we can do. And I'm sure that when I'm on the board, I'll continue to be that voice of accepting, including, and just supporting each other, no matter what diverse group we belong to. We are all welcome, and I'll make sure I am an advocate of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saba. Is Mr. Harris back? No. Okay. So we'll move to the next person, which is the next candidate, Allison Fosdick. All right, Allison. Say a prayer. No, I'm kidding. All right. I think you've got my favorite question. Well, they're all my favorite questions. Actually, all of us, several of us who have a background in education, we all sat together and came up with these questions. So they were given a lot of thought. I mean, I would say 2-3 hours of meetings where we debated just 5 questions.
Excellent.
All right, Allison, here it is. How will you work towards progress and healing in a post-pandemic world?
Okay. I think of all the questions, actually, this one is the most relevant right now. That's where we are, right? We hope we're coming down the hill and speeding more toward building a new normal. But I feel like we're kind of coasting down the hill on a bike, arms and legs akimbo, rushing to get back to normal, but not quite sure how we're going to crash land there. I think one of the first things we really need to do is treat each other with compassion and empathy. I know this past year in some ways has been really, really divisive. And I think all that does is feed anxiety and stress. And especially for our children who we want the very best for, I think being role models and treating one another with empathy and with compassion and understanding is one of the most important things we can do. As a school board member, I think one of the ways that we can work toward implementing that culture of compassion for our students is first reassessing the needs of all of our students. We had an idea before this started who needed extra help, in what areas and how, but that group of students may very well have changed during the pandemic. And identifying those needs at this point and making sure that we touch base with every student as much as possible, I think is one way that we can make sure that we're we're taking care of one another. I think allowing space for conversation, for our children to process what has happened over the past year is really important. As a writing teacher, I think writing is a phenomenal tool for us to be able to do that, but it's certainly not the only way. But allowing some space for that in our curriculum. Another thing I think we really need to do is focus on where we are, not where we should be, not where we thought we would be, but where we are. I think it adds to that sense of anxiety and pressure for our students to feel like they're so behind. And behind or not, we are where we are. And acknowledging that and saying that that's okay. And we're going to work to get better, and we're going to work to learn those things that maybe we didn't get in this past year, I think is really important. I think that attitude shift into we're not behind. We have survived a pandemic together. You know, hopefully we have survived this together. We will have learned something from it. It's not, none of us chose to be in it. None of us wanted to be in it, but together, focusing on what we can learn from it and how we can move forward, I think is one of the ways that we can strengthen our community together and give our kids the best education we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. I think Mr. Harris is back, so we will go to Mr. Robert Harris for his question. Are you ready? Basket, I keep forgetting. All right, let's go. All right, Mr. Harris, here's your question. How would you work on current school policies to ensure students from different race, ethnic and religious backgrounds will feel safe, included, and celebrated as a student?
You know, it's an outstanding question. And again, you know, thank you for allowing me back in. I had some technical difficulties. I think we had a power shortage in my home. But I would approach it, I think, first of all, in three major ways. I think that our instructors need to have more of a global mindset and be able to translate that global mindset to the students. I think that the students can also appreciate that global mindset by also being able to respect all cultures, no matter where you come from on the planet Earth. You look at this meeting today, we're all from, I would like to say, the four corners of the globe. We all have different cultures. We have our favorite cuisines. We have our favorite holidays. But I think being able to share those opportunities inside the classroom can make a change. I think that also being able to provide successful learning pathways for all students, whether the student decides to want to go on to a college or a university, or maybe the student might want to serve in another capacity to be a leader in their own community. But giving them the opportunity to have their own learning pathways as soon as possible, sometime in the 7th and 8th grade, I think that that can make a phenomenal difference. I think about real quickly about a man back in the 1930s. He and his wife, the man was named Howard Thurman. Howard Thurman was a profound professor at a historically Black university. He and his wife went to India to visit Gandhi during the 1930s with the idea that segregation was running rampant in our country. I was a product of a segregated school in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But they were committed to develop a global mindset for their students, but also find a framework that could eradicate segregation in this country. Well, that same man, Howard Thurman, was also the progenitor of Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so again, having that global mindset, being able to translate that to the students, my friend, can change the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, we will now go to Lori Donahue. All right, Lori.
Hi.
There's only two, and I'm picking one out. What measures would you take to ensure that the curriculum that is selected does not feed into implicit bias against any marginalized group?
Well, as I talked about in my introduction, if you go back and look 4 years ago at our district, you would not find in our goals for the board or for the district, anything related to equity spelled out. So for us, it has been a critically important topic. Susan's done a tremendous job getting it not only at the local level, but also at the state level to emphasize the importance of this for us. We also triggered our staff to start looking at all of our curriculum with an equity lens. Many of the schools, we looked at the LMC materials to make sure that they were inclusive. I mean, our goal is to make sure every student sees themselves in the materials that they learn, and not only sees themselves, but celebrates themselves. So it's like we want a positive role model type of experience. And when we look back at our materials, they didn't reflect that. So for us, it's been a constant theme, and we have many ideas going forward for how we're going to continue that path, including up at the leadership level, because we did come up with an equity statement to give overall guidance for the district, but that is meant to roll out into an entire plan of how we're going to apply that across all of the actions that we have in our district. I mean, we are incredibly diverse. More than half of our students are recognized as non-white, and we need to make sure that all of those different cultures, I read something that we had 115 different languages spoken in our schools. So we have a lot of things to celebrate and a lot of things to bring into the students' lives so that they become global citizens, so that they have exposure to people beyond the state of Illinois or the city of Naperville. And that to me is like the ultimate goal of when a student leaves 204, that they are a global citizen, that they have empathy for others, that they have kindness, that they understand the things that are going on in the world and are critical thinkers about that. So for me, it has been a topic that is so near and dear to my heart that you know, I can't wait to see more of that come out in our district, and certainly we have plans in front of us to work on that. So thank you very much for the question.
Thank you so much. All right. We will move to Shannon Adcock. That is our last speaker for today. And Shannon, here's the question. All right. What are some of the measures that you will take to advance equity among the special needs population, both academically and socially?
Thank you so much. So I appreciate the question, and I think that for me, in my experience with individuals with special needs, it started young. In my neighborhood, my next door neighbor, she had learning disabilities. She was unable to hear, and it was my first introduction to sign language. So I learned I love you right away, and it was something that Jennifer always did. And I learned compassion. I learned the patience that her single mother had for her needs. And I think that our district has so many wonderful resources and the funding to meet the needs of students with special needs. That should be celebrated. I think that you know, this past year, the first people that I heard from when I announced my candidacy were families of students with special needs. They were clearly missing the plethora of resources that our district can provide. And so it's a testament to how much families have benefited from what Indian Prairie School District can do to provide a worthy curriculum, wonderful social emotional opportunities for not just students with special needs, but all students, right? So they can all realize their greatest potential. So I would be a staunch advocate to ensure that that momentum continues for students as phasing happens where they're able to get more time with the specialized instructors and all of the resources. And if there's ever a lacking availability or there's a conflict, you know, follow the chain of your instructors and educators that are working with your children. And I would absolutely welcome any, you know, communication and would be a staunch advocate for any family of students with special needs who feels they aren't getting what they need. But I firmly think our district has wonderful outlets to provide students of every place, wherever they are in their academic journey, to achieve their greatest potential. And I look forward to being part of that journey if elected. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are done with our Q&A session now. I would love for you guys to be able to answer the rest of the questions that we asked. So although the candidates here, and to the viewers, although the candidates here were only given one question from the 5 questions that we had, they are welcome to answer the rest of the questions. They will be emailed those questions, and please welcome them on whatever platform you prefer. So Facebook, your website, or however else. Thank you so much. We appreciate everything. And I know this went by fast and you must have a lot more to say. And you wish you would have gotten a different question because you had so much more to say for that question. But unfortunately, this is the only way we could have done it. But we hope that you will be there to hear our public out, the Muslim community out. You will open those channels and be ready to listen. And this committee will serve as a liaison too. So please reach out to us if you want to hear what our community thinks. So now I would like to invite ICN President Kashif Fakhruddin for the closing remarks, and we should be ending in about 10 minutes or less, maybe.
So I think Kashif is not there. Maybe he's having some connection issue.
Brother Rahman, how would you like to proceed?
Yeah, once again, just give me a minute. I'm just checking with him. Okay, I think, yeah, maybe he's having some connection issues. Yeah, so probably I would do the vote of thanks. So thank you so much to all the candidates. Amazing. You guys answered, I mean, very well. It was like fascinating to see you guys, you know, like how randomly you pick the question and answer it. You know, it's great leadership. Thank you so much, candidates, for joining us. The entire ICN community, thank you. You know, like, and all the best for your April 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Rahman. So everyone remember April 6th is a day to vote, but early voting has started, correct? Yes, early voting has started. Everyone's nodding. So go out and vote. I would like to end our meeting by saying thank you to God, as we Muslims believe, for allowing us all to be together here. Thank you to all our guests here. Thank you to the people in our audience. Thank you to the hosts. Good night.